I think I'm officially ready to switch over from this masculine, take action in toward my manifestations energy, in terms of like my life path. Not all the smaller things that I've got going on right now, but like just in move, like, you know, deciding to move, and trying to understand what my channel is doing, because I know my channel was already on my path because I was guided not to give up on it. So I know that there's a purpose in it that is divinely guided. That's not just my ego not wanting to let go of it, because, man, I jerked myself around with this channel so much, it's like ridiculous. And God was like, start, stop. And it was like working all the kinks out of like my intentions with it, and the energy behind it, and the direction of it. And I'm ready to release and surrender and receive, because I've done so much work on myself, and so much work on accepting things as they are. I've done work on like uncovering the layers of myself that were limiting me. And I've reached that point where like sleeping isn't making me feel rested. So like my body is telling me it's time to switch into whistling there, to switch into that more feminine, receptive energy in the manifestation phase, where you just allow the universe to come in, like you're just waiting on all the pieces to fall into place. And I really feel like that is what is going on right now, because like I feel it in my body, in the tiredness, but I also feel it in this sense of I feel calm about feeling tired. I don't feel like I don't have any energy and I have to go do this and that. Like, I don't feel that internal pressure to keep chasing anymore. And I need to listen to that. Like, I think it's important to listen to that, just that inner knowing of like just like this exhale moment. And that's nice. That's really nice. It's really nice. And it's kind of an exciting time for you guys, like, in watching this journey, because things are about to get really interesting. I mean, they've been fascinating so far because it's my life. I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but just to see how, I don't know what God has in store for me, but I know that God and the universe are using my life to show people God's power and God's ability to basically make mountains move with love. I was just, as I started choking there, I was thinking, I don't know if I want to say that, like, the thing I was thinking about, but I was thinking about, like, how in scripture, or, like, at least, like, I've heard a lot of preachers talking about how God's greatest power manifests itself in our lives sometimes, like show like our lives, how drastically they can transform, like from rags to riches, for example, like at least metaphorically, like how much our lives can be transformed is a way that God showcases its glory in our world. I feel like I'm very, very close to seeing some of the things in my external reality match my internal world. And it's going to be something, really. I mean, at this moment, I'm currently seen as completely delusional. But that was something that I came here knowing I was going to have to face. My spirit knew that I was going to have to face. being willing to be seen by the, not like to be seen by the entire world as delusional and crazy, even though nobody's seen this yet. And it, like, you know, I mean, there's a couple of people who have seen it, but even though it's like, no, you only risked a couple of people seeing you, that's not true. I put it out there, and it's out of my control who sees it. So I technically could have been the whole world watching me make a fool of myself, watching me do this crazy stuff. I'd just be this poor, crazy lady on the internet, you know, like, you know, when you put stuff out there online, it's out there forever. Like, this could, like, all of this could impact my life negatively, like my ability to get housing, my ability to get a job, like who's willing to work with me in the future. Like, I'm willing to risk the security in my life, potentially for the rest of my life, because of my faith in my own path. And I came here knowing that I was going to be faced with that. I can't remember the details of my soul contract, like the memory that I have of agreeing to this. I don't really remember details. So like I wasn't allowed to take details with me, just that I volunteered for this life because I didn't want anybody else to have to live it. That's all I know. Like, that's all I could, like, that's all God let me remember. But now understanding what I came here to do, like a little bit, understanding who I agreed to be, like I should have already known that the world saw the Antichrist as different from what God intended. So I would have at least known that I would have to face the entire world potentially telling me, no, that's not who you are. So I would have to stand in faith in my path, regardless of pretty much every single person on this planet being convinced that every other person on this planet was going to tell me, no, that's not who you are. And I, for some reason, was like, yeah, let's do it. Sounds like fun. What the heck? I can't tell you how many nights I told my higher self, like, I hate you. Like, I didn't mean it. But man, struggling through some of those things that I've gone through, like, that's come up. Like, this anger towards myself for volunteering for this. Never once did I wish it on anybody else, but man, I was mad as hell at myself. It's like, that me loves this me, but this me does not love that me. Yeah, you know, I don't know if I talked about this or not, but I was convinced that because that me agreed to come here, that me knew that I was strong enough to do this, to live this life. And when I asked God about that, God told me no. God told me, no, you didn't know if you were strong enough to do this. And I was like, I am so glad I didn't know that. Like, that probably kept me alive. Oh, burping for no reason. Not for no reason, it's confirmation. Apparently that kept me alive. No, yeah. Believing that I was kept alive by my faith in my path. I was kept alive by the belief that my higher self already knew that I was strong enough to live my life, and the hardships that I have faced and the pain that I've faced. Honestly, like most of the pain that I've faced in my life that has made my life remarkable, at least in my opinion, has been interpersonal trauma. Like, I've never been homeless. I've never been in a war-torn area. I've never been, I haven't really had like I was severely abused as a child, but like I was never like in any kind of violence as an adult. And I've never had any sort of debilitating disease. Like I've had a relatively healthy body, and I've had a roof over my head, and you know, like I've been in communities that, you know, were relatively safe from, you know, like intrusion and attacks and things like that. But it's mostly just like emotional, interpersonal trauma, isolation, manipulation, being taken advantage of, being stolen from, being lied to, being put down, being told no, that's not who you are, being told who you are is unacceptable, you know, just really like emotionally abusive situations. And I mean, obviously a part of the reason I came to this life, one of the things I have had to learn a lot is emotional lessons in my life, emotional regulation, emotional, like I learned, when I got here, I learned a lot about emotional manipulation. And even though like I don't want to, my ego does not want to share this, something that I had, you know, I actually presented it to God to ask this about myself, even though I didn't want to know the answer. Like I knew that I needed to know the answer to this, but God told me that I was way more manipulative than I realized that it was, and that wasn't easy to hear. That wasn't easy to hear, but now looking back, like it's not as bad as it felt in the moment, because I understand it better. I understand that I grew up having to be, I grew up not being able to get my needs met by being assertive in saying, these are my needs, I need them met. And so we learn to like backdoor and go, go around in circles trying to get our needs met, just trying to survive. And, you know, as I've learned to become assertive, you know, more and more assertive every day, basically every day, the more confident I feel that I'm walking away from using manipulative energy, which is not something that I want to do. Like I literally, like before I had, you know, that heart to heart with God about that part of my personality, which I'll just say personal. I don't want to worry too much about semantics here. Before I had a heart to heart with God about that, I would have described myself as somebody who is very clever. In clever in going about getting things that I wanted. That's how I would have described myself, and I didn't see it as being manipulative. And I still looking back, I still understand why I saw it that way. So it's not really like that. It wasn't wrong to see it that way. Like I can't even judge that me for seeing it that way, because of course that's how I saw it. It was all that I knew, and like of course that's how I saw it. And so I think it's, when we're judging our past self, it's so easy to judge our past self, especially when it comes to things that are hard to accept like that. Because it's kind of like icky feeling. Like I can't imagine I'm alone in this. Like thinking about like, oh, dealing with your own, like you're, you know, being manipulative when you've been manipulative, or dealing with your own jealousy, dealing with things that make you feel shame. If it triggers shame, it's not the easiest thing to share. And it's not that easy to share, and it's really hard not to judge yourself looking back on it too. Like, the thing though, I think, is that it's important to remember that we were doing the best that we could in the situation that we were in with what we had. And I really do believe that, because I think that when we know better, we do better. For example, we're not like, when we understand that we're all connected and that we're basically like a finger on a hand, or a hand on a connected to the rest of a body, we stop attacking each other. Like, we're not engaging in war when we actually are aware that we are only hurting ourselves, because we are all connected and we are all one. And once we're aware of that, we don't do those things, because it's not logical. Like, we don't do that. Like, when we're aware and we're healthy, we don't sabotage ourselves. For example, like, when, if I were aware at the time when I was being manipulative instead of being assertive, I would have recognized that what I was doing was dishonoring myself. It was lacking integrity. It was something that was going to cause me shame later. If I was aware of all of that, I wouldn't have, gone about whatever circumstance, I wouldn't have gone about X, Y, and Z in the same manner. I wouldn't have done that, knowing ahead of time I was going to regret it because of all these things. And, sometimes that can kind of trip us up, because sometimes we're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this, and we go ahead and do it anyway. It just means we don't quite have enough knowledge of it. But lesson learned, you take what you can from the past and you move forward. You forgive yourself and you move forward in love, and commit to not making that same mistake again. And that is exactly what the story of the cross is. Jesus taught us to forgive ourselves, forgive the past, and step forward into life with loving energy and a commitment to not making our same mistakes, a commitment to letting the past go, but not the knowledge from the past, just all of the feelings and all of the baggage from the past. That's what we leave behind. We take the knowledge with us and leave the baggage behind. Knowing that, having that explained to me through my life experiences by God, is how God convinced me to become a quote-unquote Christian. So I don't know how many people out there are Christians by my definition, and I don't know if I probably don't match very many people's definition of a Christian at this moment, because here I am, the second coming of Christ consciousness, and also the Antichrist, and I'm a Christian. And so I think there's probably going to be some people who don't agree with me, but that's okay. I can't do anything about that, and they don't get to decide who I am for me. They only get to decide who I am for them. Man, I'm long-winded today. Can't wait to have people over for dinner. Eat. I think I'm going to rent a 1-bedroom. If I can, I want I want a 2202. I would love a 1-bedroom. That way I can have people over into my house and not have them in my bedroom. And a sense of community and other people in my life are like a huge motivating, like, ooh, here's, like, I have so much baggage to, like, release, that I have so much that I have, like, let go and dislodged in me that just needs to be cried out, that I can't even talk about having human beings in my life, like, over for dinner. Like, people come into my home because the situation that I've been in, and so it's so isolating. It's isolating. And because of all the interpersonal trauma, it was so easy to convince myself that I felt safe alone. And so all of the pain from the isolation, all of these years, is like stuffed down and it's now coming out. Like, I just want to start sobbing. My throat is like, is like restricted. Part of me feels like I imagine other people judging me for like saying these things and sharing these things, because like I imagine someone with maybe not so much emotional maturity looking at this, watching like a video like this, me talking about this, and just thinking like, how pathetic. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it is my old self judging me for this. Like, how pathetic are you that you're like, oh, I don't have any friends. It's not about, yeah, maybe it is that. Maybe it's my old self, like the voice in my head, the ego is like really harshly judging me for wanting other people around. It's still trying to protect me from other people hurting me by keeping me isolated. I had like this weird little blip of time where I kept seeing these videos. I saw like 3 of these videos where like the person was talking about, hey, don't worry about being cringe, because turns out that's like the best part of us. Like, that's when we're being authentic, and anybody who doesn't like it, that's too bad. It's just part of them that they can't accept. And I was like, that's totally true. That's totally true. 6:22, 25:22.